Welcome back, everyone, to America's Mom. I'm your host, Sherronna Bishop. I'm so grateful to be with you guys. You might have noticed that our schedule changed. We are now with you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday during the prime hour. Such a blessing. And we will be coming live to you most Fridays. So some of the things we have to do a little bit ahead of time, but we are really looking forward to another live show again right here on Patriot TV. So thank you guys for joining us. We're telling the stories that really matter. They're the ones that hit closest to home. There's a lot of national narrative that's just a bunch of noise. It does not matter. It does not affect you. It takes your eyes off the actual ball and the things that really are happening in this country. It's all a giant distraction most of the time. Some people even would say one big psyop. Well, I'll tell you what's not. And that's what's happening in cities like Aurora, Chicago, Detroit, DC, on and on and on. The stories of, oh gosh, how could I forget? Springfield, the stories of the takeover of illegal aliens, and not just illegals, but cartel members, gangsters, people who've been let out of prison and sent to destroy our country, people who've been let out of mental health facilities and sent to destroy our nation. Well, those things are actually going on, and there's not a whole lot being done to stop it. Nationally, President Trump is finally talking about it and saying that he's actually going to be making his way to Aurora. So I thought I'd bring on somebody who knows firsthand what's going on. He lives in Aurora. In fact, he's running for House District 40, which is Aurora County. And he's joining us today to talk about what he has seen firsthand. He's been active in politics for a very long time, served our great country, and he's here to tell the truth today to you, the American people. Darryl Gibbs joins us on America's Mom.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Wow.
Glad
Well,
to be
first of
here.
all, thank you so much for joining us and being here with us to tell us exactly what's going on. We're so tired of the narrative. If I go to Channel 9 News in Colorado and have to hear Kyle Clark repeat the Democrat platform one more time, if they didn't know it was Mockingbird Media, all of the people should know now, because is this guy just lying, or does he have he's ignorant to the situation? What do you think's happening there with media?
I think it's both of them. He's lying and he's ignorant. Because you have people that's coming on the news like this morning. You had a lady come on 9 News and she's saying, well, she's a business owner about to make a second business. Nothing is happening. The gang is the gang, there's no such thing as the gang being here, and that and then that Donald Trump, that he's saying that it's all in Aurora. And then you even have the new police chief. He came up and he said, well, it's isolated to certain spots. In other words, it's here. All right. And the thing is, how did we get here? No one wants to tackle that. No one wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the sanctuary city policies that Governor Polis here that has put on Colorado. And what makes it so bad, this man, he could sit back and have emergency meetings for um, abortions should be covered by insurance, but you have this going on in Colorado and in Aurora. He doesn't have enough guts to come up there and see it for us firsthand. Myself and a friend of mine, we went to all three of these places, and especially on 12th in Dallas, it was crazy. It's just a mess. It's slumlords and everything else, and this mess is true. And also, what happened to the 10 people that was caught on the news? They said there are 10 of them was caught. They had $1,000 bail. Why are they still here? How come they haven't been kicked out? How come our
Well,
representatives aren't saying anything? So you have a
let's
lot
go
of these
back.
people coming on, and they're just playing this off like it is nothing,
Well,
and
Daryl,
everybody's
let's
getting
go
tired of it.
back. Let's go back to what you said. Nobody wants to talk about how we actually got here. And you know full well, just like I do, I saw you out in the front when Jared Polis was elected. So Jared Polis is the first, for those who may not know, in Colorado. He's the most progressive, radical governor in the country. He's the first openly homosexual governor in the country. And it wouldn't matter if he truly was a business-minded, more libertarianish, independent thinker. But that has not proven to be the case at all with the way that he governs the state of Colorado. And one of the first acts that he did was to make Colorado a sanctuary state. What's been the impact? What does that mean for people who don't understand? Even though the federal law says you can't come in here illegally, in 2019, right after he was elected and took office, he implemented sanctuary state status. What does that mean, and why should the American people care about that?
Because basically it's what's going on. If you have open borders, he says just come on in if you're legal or anything. We're not going to vet you. But the problem is you have people that came to America that wants to be an American. They got in line. so they can be here and prosper. But then you have Polis when he says, no, we'll just bring everybody in, and then we'll just go ahead, we'll take care of them first. So that means our military people, you know, basically screw you, because there's no reason why our military should be homeless. Yeah, let's go back just to COVID. Look at all the people that lost their jobs and the people that didn't want to take the shot. And these small businesses that lost everything because Polis said, well, you have to put up all these barriers, but yet you only can have a certain amount of people come into your business. So in other words, they lost money. So what happened to these group of people? And then again, what happened to the group of people that sit back and they said they want to be Americans? So we just jumped over three groups of people, especially our military people, and we just go ahead and say, hey, we're going to give you the person that just come over, we're just going to give you this, we're going to give you everything under the sun. And remember, back in the day when they let go of slaves, what did they tell to the slaves? They didn't say, hey, we're going to give you money, hey, we're going to give you this and that. It's like, hey, you know what, you're free, but you're on your own. There's your clothes, have a good day. So why is it that we're sitting back instead of taking care of our people here in the United States, especially in Colorado? Why are we not taking care of them? Why is it that we have to, well, they have in Denver, they're talking about we need I think it was $98 million so we can have services for the illegal migrants. So that means we're taking the money from the police department, we're taking money from fire, from emergency services, all these services down the road, and then also the services that are meant for the people that's here in Colorado, we're taking money away from them
Well,
to give
Darryl,
to people that's not putting anything into the pot.
yeah, but hang on, Darryl, they already defunded the police in Denver County. So, I mean that they already did that. So you don't have to worry. They're not going to take from them. They already did that. Now they're
Uh,
just
they,
now they're taking from you. Now
they're
they're
taking
raising your property taxes so they can fund all of this nonsense.
this is a great big will, and a lot of people, including I, we call this from day one when they
Mhm.
said, well, we're going to do this under homelessness. I am so tired of Polis, these mayors, some of these representatives, they just straight lying to the American people. And then you have 9 News, 7 News, they don't have enough guts to tell the truth about what's going on. Then you have these other radical people saying, well, there's nothing to see, well, we're there's just peaceful people, but yet you show people running around with guns. And granted, say that was Americans that said, well, we're going to take over this complex again because we're tired of all this mess going on. Right now, they would still be in jail. They would not be out free like these people are. And for
Okay.
some reason, it seems like when you have people that are here illegally, like the group that we're going to, let's just talk about the Venezuela folks right now that we're
Yeah.
talking about. What has
And I want
happened
to
to them?
Daryl,
Because
I want to bring up
Mhm.
Mike Kaufman in this particular conversation to the mayor of Aurora. So yeah, lay it out for us exactly what's happened with the Venezuelans that have come in, and then we're gonna break down what has happened with the mayor and what he believes why they were moved into his county in the first place.
well, a lot of this because we have open, because we're a sanctuary city. No one has sat back and told this governor, is like, it is time for us to stop. We can't even afford our own people. But then they'll give these people money, and then first, like he said, like they said we'll do this under homelessness. They start putting them in all these hotels. Now we're having problems in the hotels. We're having the police officers showing up. We're having killings in there. We're having just crime going on. So now they send them to these other areas where they'll tell these people that owns these apartments, hey, we're going to put these people in here and basically turn it into to a slumlord, because they're not taking care of you. They don't fix anything. They don't they don't do anything. You walk into it and it look like a third world country. It doesn't look like an apartment complex. And then you have businesses that are getting broken into. What are we doing about this? We're
Mhm.
doing nothing. We sit back and we have all these people on TV, and along with some of these other people that are supposed to be representing us, they're not doing anything. They rather sit back and say nothing's going on, or let's blame Trump. Trump is trying to start rhetoric. No, he's not. He's bringing attention to something that's been going on. Because remember, when this first started, what did Governor Polis say? Oh, there's nothing going on. That's this is basically it's fake. But you know what? He's over there in Boulder in his mansion. He doesn't have to worry about what's going on in Aurora. So that's the problem we have. We have too many people sitting back being all comfortable and saying, well, it doesn't affect me, until it does. Then all of a sudden now, when it's reality, you have a lot of these people want to wash it and say, no, you know what, it's not going on. But in reality, when you talk to real people, Like the woman that had to leave that apartment in 12th in Dallas because it's gotten too ridiculous. You have a 57-year-old woman wanted having to about to go hand to hand with some of these ridiculous people are here, and no one wants to do anything about it. But you didn't see her get interviewed. You saw
No.
these other people get interviewed, and they're lying out their teeth. And the thing is, what made it so bad on this, they showed the apartments after they were cleaned up. There are a
Right.
lot of us, we showed the apartments on Facebook and everything, showing what it looks like, and they won't even acknowledge that. So here we are again. They're having us, the American people, to be responsible. They're having us, the American people, to pay for their mistakes. And when I say their mistakes, I'm talking about the mistakes of Polis, these mayors, and also our state representatives that do not want to stand up for the regular normal people. And then the
Right.
people in the neighborhoods and the houses in the neighborhoods of these apartments, what about them? No
Are
one's
these
standing up for these people.
Daryl, are these no-go zones basically? Have they been no-go zones this last year since Polis made his announcement in 23 welcoming the Venezuelan cartel to Colorado?
Well, the problem with a lot of this stuff is, the police departments are so short because they don't have people. There are times where they're supposed to be able to come to these calls and they're not showing up. That's what happened on 12th in Dallas. We have people, basically it is a no-go zone. They're not responding like they should. And a lot of times they're short. You have people calling in and saying they're playing loud music, they're shooting, they're doing guns. Nothing happens. And hopefully with this new police chief that is here, I really don't have too much faith in this police chief because it seems like everybody from California screws this up. And I don't know why we have to get police chiefs from California, but it just seems like everything gets screwed up when they come here. No one wants to take the reins and say, look, we have a problem. Give us the manpower so we can take care of this. Because when you have this going on and it take over a whole parking lot in Target and nobody really does nothing, but then we want to cover it up, and you have the news wanting to cover up, and then you have these instances going on in these apartments, and again you have the news covering up. What is there? When does the BS stops? And I'm glad
Right.
there's people like you that's going to sit up here and say, you know what, we're not going to deal with all this cover up stuff. Let's tell the truth and
Mhm.
get people here who's not afraid to go ahead and tell the truth of what's going on.
Well, it's true. And Mayor Mike Kaufman attempted to do that. Aurora is actually not a sanctuary city. They have
No.
not extended resources to illegals. Kaufman was very firm about that and said he would be putting
Yes.
his people first. And he went on MSM and he said that he believed this was retaliation, that they had moved these people into his county specifically, that Polis, a year ago, Polis made a public announcement. It was written, it was put out to the public, welcoming specifically the Venezuelan immigrants to the state of Colorado and promptly moved them into Aurora. He believed that this was retaliation because he was not going to participate in this scheme, like you're talking about, to put foreigners before American citizens. And with that, also, he also said he had not been able to get resources to help himself and help his community. In addition to that, now he has this fine line. I've asked to receive all of the reports that they're putting out. He's got this fine line of what you just talked about, where a business owner is coming out and saying, hey, all of this negative focus on Aurora is affecting my business now. What is supposed to happen there? I mean, it sounds to me like you would say swift and ferocious removal of these people so we can get back to peace and safety in our communities.
That's to me, that's common sense. Right now, they just prove these people that are doing these actions has already proved they do not want to be part of the American system. If you do not want to be a part of the American system, then get out. That's why when we tell people to come through the door, they vet people and they said this is the process you have to do to become an American citizen. When you
Mhm.
do not do this, then you have people that's coming over from another nation with their ways and they're bringing it here. And then they're testing what's going on because no one is putting these people in jail. Where's ICE? How come Aurora and all these other apartments are not talking to ICE to get these people out of here? Because it doesn't make any sense for us to get these people and they get convicted and they stay here and nothing happens. And I'm telling you, if it was an American citizen right now, they'll still be in jail. They'll probably be under the jail, and then you'll have all the news media trying to interview them on this. But right
It's
now, you see
you
silence.
Darryl, you're so right. There would be massive levels of sympathy as we're already experiencing. They already try to cover it up. They already try to say things aren't happening in Springfield. They try to say that they literally, I think the gaslighting that they did in Aurora was extremely spectacular, where the 527 nonprofit partnered with Denver City to bring in this group that looked like maybe they might be from Venezuela, saying, not literally holding signs with little kids saying nothing to see here, no gang members here. That was the most bizarre display. I just was shocked. I was shocked again. I don't know why. They think that I think they really do believe in Polis, especially. You talked about how he's in his mansion, hidden away, tucked away. His children go to a private school, by the way, a communist private
Yep.
school, by the way. But anyway, nonetheless, protected from all of this. And they literally think people aren't going to care about the poor people. They think we are not going to give a care about the poor people. And I think
See,
that's what they hoped would happen.
and see, that's why when I tell people, I say you got to start looking at your state representatives and things, because I understand looking at the president, but you know what? We need some in office, in legislation. We need some hardworking American people. But right now, they don't want hardworking American people, especially strong men. They do not. They fear strong men, because if we stand up in a group and say we're not taking this anymore, then that's going to put some fear on them. But right now, they're just every time someone says anything, they're afraid of getting canceled. They're afraid of saying, well, I won't be able to go further in my political career, which is two words that don't belong together. It's political career. That's something else we can go down another rabbit hole on. But this is exactly what is going on. No one wants to do anything. It seems like all these entities are afraid to look at Polis and say, we're tired of this sanctuary city crap. We need to stop. We need to send all these people who do not want to be an American. They need to get out, and we need to have ICE and the and our law enforcement talking to each other so we can straighten this out. Because right now, this is just plain ridiculous, and
I find
the people are getting pissed.
I find it fascinating that the former director for Colorado's ICE organization, that it's not a department, thank you, is running for Congress in the state of
Yep.
Colorado. And God bless him, because he knows exactly firsthand. I remember when the communists came to raid his home and put his family in fear and terror because he was simply trying to do his job and protect the people of Colorado. It's really been incredible to watch all of this play out since Jared Polis took office in Colorado. Now you're running for House District 40. I want people to know who you are, where to go to find you, support you in this campaign. Again, this is Aurora County, and where all of this nonsense has been happening, you have a record of common sense. You are a hardworking man. You've already represented this country, served this nation. And where can people go to find you and support you and hear more about your campaign?
All right, this is Arapahoe County, and you can look for me at Darryl Gibbs for Colorado.com. Also, Darryl Gibbs for Colorado at gmail.com. And the website is very simple, Darryl Gibbs for Colorado.com. And me, I am currently serving in the United States Air Force Reserves, and I'm proud to do it. I've been a former police officer. I've also done fracking, and I'm an independent trucker. And I understand small business, and I understand how it is that when we want to have our laws protected, that we're supposed to have the police there. As a former police officer, when people say I support the police, well, you have to also look at this. You have to also support them from inside, because we have our police officers at times. Some of these policies are going against police officers who wants to do their job, but they can't because they're directed. If they're directed not to do something, even though they sit back and see what we're doing is right, if they're caught doing it, then therefore they're going to be in trouble. They're going to lose their job, or they're going to be reprimanded. So I believe in protecting our veterans because I am a veteran. I believe in tackling crime, improving our education, and especially right now, redefining our immigration, because our immigration laws are so screwed up and the process are so screwed up. There's a lot of good people who wants to be an American that comes over to America, whether they came over illegally or not, or born here illegally or not. They're in the process to be Americans, and the process that they're going through is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why a lot of people, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Chicanos, they're pissed because they have to go through this process. And then you have Polis and the rest of these people just say, hey, you come on over, and you don't do anything. and we'll give you money, but yet you have hardworking people sitting back saying, I have to use my hard-earned money and at the
To
same
pay their
time
way.
take care of my family, but I have to pay a lawyer so they can
Mhm.
get me through the process. But then here you're going to hand them out. And then also dealing with this is people that you don't know. You know, right now they end up used to be you have to be here 2 years in order for you to get a driver's license if if you're not a non-American, you choose to be an American. Now
Oh,
they said,
I love the non-legal driver's license program. We
yep,
love it.
because now folks, they don't have to have 2 years. And then right now, you have people on the border telling these people, hey, go to Colorado because it's
That's right.
easier for you to get a driver's license. But yet, here it is. We're having our insurance thrown up at
Yep.
skyrockets. We're having people driving cars illegally. We have plates that are on vehicles that there's times there's not even on plates on any of these vehicles. And
Daryl,
what can we do about that?
Darryl Gibbs, thank you. I know you've got a lot of solutions, you got a lot of answers, and I'm looking forward to seeing a victory for you in House District 40, excuse me,
Thank you.
Arapahoe County, not Aurora. Thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to hosting you on our Patriot Call also. Thank you for being with us
Thank
on
you.
America's
Thank
Mom.
you. I appreciate y'all. God bless and I love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will be right back after this very brief message.
The Donor Deck represents a groundbreaking independent crowdfunding initiative driven by patriots like you to bring back our esteemed President Donald J. Trump to office. With unwavering passion, we pledge all profits from the sale to MAGA Inc. and Fight Like a Flynn PAC. The exquisitely detailed challenge coin is a timeless collectible to be passed down to generations. It symbolizes your continuous dedication to assisting President Trump in his quest to rejuvenate America to its former greatness. Get your Donor Deck now. Go to thepatriot.tv store and click on Donor Deck. Enjoy the magnificent artwork and scripture on each playing card, knowing our appreciation for your continuous dedication to assisting President Trump in his quest to rejuvenate America to its former greatness. You'll get this keepsake collectible challenge coin acknowledging your support for Donald Trump's run back to the White House, and the Donor Deck of 52 exquisite playing cards, plus a beautiful display case to show your challenge coin. Go to the Patriot.tv store and get your Donor Deck now.
You know, people ask all the time, what can we do? What can we do about the situation that we're in? How can we really impact and make a difference in this world, especially in our own country? And, one of the things I've seen over and over and over is that when we take charge of our dollars and where our money goes, because it's all about money, everything they're doing to hurt us and kill us comes back to dollars. Big pharma, what do they want? More money. Government, what do they want? They want more of our money. These organizations, these corporations, BlackRock, what do they want? More of our money. What do the schools want? More of our money. They're willing to sell our kids out for a few more silver coins. They proved that during COVID. So if you think you don't have any power, I'm here to tell you you do. You can do a lot to determine what happens in this country when you determine where your money is spent. And I have a solution. I have been working with an American manufacturer now for 2 years. I have been enjoying their incredible home based products that are designed to be the cleanest, safest, toxin free. They are everyday use items, almost 500 different products of things you use every single day. They are the highest quality. And you guys, they are made right here in America by Americans and an American manufacturer. This is the place where we start taking back and making a huge change in our country. It is about American manufacturing and putting this country first. I want to invite all of you to go check out the shift that I made. And you can visit, it is mylibertybox.com/mom. Go sign up to get some more information. I want you to know it's a private club because we don't let lefty losers in here. We put people in this club that love our country and want to put America first. And that's who I want to be associating with. It's been 2 years now. I can tell you I love everything and I'm falling more in love every single day when I remember that not only is it a great product, but I'm serving my country at the same time. Go to mylibertybox.com/mom. Check it out and join my club today. Speaking of clubs, there's been this club that parents have not known about, really didn't understand, never would have believed that it would be full of non binary pedophile predators. And that is a club called the American Library Association. Have you heard of it? Most every person sitting on your board of trustees in your local little library are part of the ALA. It is run by a lesbian, globalist, Marxist, non binary. I don't know how you can be lesbian and non binary, but apparently it's a thing. I really can't keep up with all the things that they are. Okay. But these are the things that she promotes or I don't even know what to call her, to be honest, but one man does. And he has founded the World Library Association. He's been a fighter on the front lines, alerting parents that the libraries are no longer safe for your children. Dan Kleinman joins us now on America's Mom.
Hello, everyone.
Dan, does it ever get old? I mean, really, does it ever get old how vicious, how aggressive they are at getting our children?
It never gets old, but they make it a little bit more easier to see that they're getting aggressive and vicious because right now it's banned books week. There's been no banned books since 1963, but the American Library Association has published a list of what you can do to belittle parents and further the indoctrination on children. So you can actually see it in the open, because usually it's like a private lesson they give people, but now it's published in the Library Journal. You can go take a look at the Library Journal and look for an article by somebody named P.C. Sweeney from Every Library, which is an American Library Association group. And he goes into detail about how parents are the bad ones and the students need to have those inappropriate books more and more, because that's inclusion and diversity.
So that's what I'm talking about right there. These people parading as though they're protecting the children. I've heard for years. This is when I started to know there were three key words I looked for whenever a politician opened up their mouth. And to me, in my mind, the American Library Association is no different. It's a political organization.
Yeah.
They're an activist organization on behalf of not just Democrats, but Marxists.
Yes.
They're Marxists. They're public about it, right, Dan? They're not hiding it, right?
No. When
So
the Marxist president, who's now the immediate past president, Emily Drabinski, was elected, she said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad that a Marxist got elected the leader of the American Library Association. I can't wait to wield power. My mom is going to be so proud."
You guys, literally, this is absolutely true. And everybody can check out Dan Kleinman on his Twitter account. He has all of this stuff up there for you to see. It's true. The three words I always watch for, though, is for the children. Okay. Whenever I hear those words, and they're not a parent and they're not a mother or a
Right.
father, okay, or a grandparent, I'll give them that too. If they're not directly associated with children for real, then I know that they're hiding something, that they're using those words to get to my kids. And all my alarm bells start going off, all the flags go off, all the red. I mean, it's just blaring in my head now, because I
Right.
do understand they constantly use our children as a tool, a weaponized tool to do what? I mean, I think at one time it was to get money, which they do that a lot. But I genuinely believe that these people want my kids. They want the innocence of our children. And I guess I'm trying to understand. And a lot of people will say, Sherronna, that's insane. Why do they want our kids, Dan?
Well, I would say that in general, librarians don't want kids for just sexual purposes. So I'm not going to say that they're all perverts, but what they do want is they want it for political purposes, and that is basically, Marxism. When you look at, for example, in 1969 or 67, I forget which year, the Library Bill of Rights was changed to add the word age because of some 60s radical named Edgar Friedenberg. They added that to the Library Bill of Rights. Now it's age discrimination to keep kids from everything. And the purpose of this is not necessarily to sexualize kids. The purpose of this is to cleave them away, get them away from their parents, their countries, their churches, so they're more malleable for you to take over with your political ideology of perpetual revolution. And if that sounds crazy, you have to remember that the Board of Education, that same person, Emily Drabinski, was recorded at a socialism conference 2023 or 24, I think, in Chicago by Karlin Borisenko, stating that she needs to turn libraries into sites for socialism or socialist training. This is what they're doing. I mean, it sounds crazy to say this, but this is what they say they're doing. This is what they're actually doing. It's what's happening. It's the reason why they're giving kids inappropriate material, because it harms them and does what it's intended to do. That's what I think. That's where the grooming is coming in my opinion. It's a political kind of a grooming, not necessarily a sexual kind.
That's really fascinating to me, because we do get a little bit caught up, obviously, and rightly so, because it's disgusting and deviant. All of the sexual books that they're allowing, the exploiting of children,
Right.
the pornography that's being allowed. into the libraries in the hands of our little ones. But I want to be careful about not just jumping on the outrage circus. I've done that, but it's so radical that people don't believe it's happening. It's so outside of their normal boundaries. They could never
Mm.
imagine abusing children that way. So they
Right.
oftentimes don't believe that it's happening. And I've been engaged heavily on social media about this recently because it's affecting our tiny little rural communities. People
Right.
don't want to believe that is going on. So when you put it that way, that this is an ideological war, they need to amass more soldiers for their Marxist ideology who will go and be, good soldiers for the future
Yeah.
to advance their ideas.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. Do you think that it's impactful? Really, it's the library, it's optional, people can go or not go. What about the ALA really makes them powerful in actually impacting our kids?
Well, it's not just the library. People can go or they not go. It's the public schools, the public school libraries. There, you're going to go, and your kids are going to go, and your kids are going to get books. For example, in New Jersey, there's a book. Well, it's all over, but a book called "Let's Talk About It," and it has material in that book that violates New Jersey's criminal code 2C 34-3, I think, or whatever. And this obscenity for children 18 and under code is written for a reason to protect children, but the librarians don't care. And they don't care so much that the American Library Association is promoting in New Jersey a law called in New Jersey the Freedom to Read Act, which is spreading all over. And part of that law is to add an exception to that obscenity just for school librarians, because they know they are currently guilty under the law, and they want to make it so that the librarians need not worry about criminal charges under the obscenity code in New Jersey. So it's
Okay.
not me saying this is obscenity. They saying it, they know it is.
Okay, so I want you to back up on that again for everybody who is just tuning in and trying to understand the connection between the American Library Association and the perversion of our kids and really the trauma, purposeful
Right.
trauma. Anytime you have adults who are saying your parents are not safe, I just as a little moment here, the social emotional learning is tied up in this as well, where they promote the idea that your parents are not safe.
Right.
And I remember the DARE program. Remember, the DARE program was all about reporting on your parents, telling the teachers what your parents were doing at home. And anytime you have this, it creates purposeful trauma in children. And I
Right.
can't understand why we're still doing it, but that's what when you talk about this and the legislation that's being passed to allow these people to have complete and total access to your children without any consequences. They can
Right.
teach your child whatever they want, expose them to whatever want, and call it education. This is so the Right to Read Act, right? That's what it's called.
The Right to Read Act, the Freedom to Read Act, the Libraries for All Act, same, different names, same idea.
Okay, well, it's in the nuances, right? Because parents will say, "Oh, we don't have that here." So anything that it's being called, they're going to be able to find it on your Twitter. But all of those things really matter because, again, it's the nuances, and people are desperately seeking safety and to believe that this is not happening in their backyard. I mean, when I see the
Right.
comments and I go and look at the people, and I'm like, these are normal people, but they're
Right.
defending the American Library Association and they're defending the right to put any type of material whatsoever into the hands of children. And I
Right.
don't think they really believe that. I think they just
Right.
can't imagine that material would really destroy their little minds.
Right. And these laws in these various states, dozens of them, they are written by the American Library Association, supported by the American Library Association, and the advocates promoting it are provided with American Library Association platforms to get out the vote, essentially. I think in Arkansas, they had 44,000 emails related to this subject. Well, they didn't come from 44,000 residents in Louisiana. They came from all the people ginned up by the American Library. It's basically astroturfed, right? Parents like us don't have astroturf networks across the United States to help get out the message, but they do. They've been working on it for decades, and they're very good at it now. They're so good at it now that they actually brag about it. Um,
It's wild. It really is. And I'm looking here too, just so you know, as we're kind of going back to it is banned book week. And with that in mind, the majority of the books that they're displaying on here are not banned books. And they qualify it. I just want to make a point here. They say banned and challenged
right,
books. The majority of these are challenged by parents who are saying, I am jazz is not appropriate. Can we just take that case study for a moment to, when we're talking about trans ideology and exposing children to these concepts before their brains could possibly understand it, which is why, again, I am completely against social emotional learning. If you can't teach the kids to read and write, please don't jump to another subject and think you're going to actually succeed there as well.
Right.
The schools have demonstrated they can't do the fundamentals. Why would we ever entrust our children's emotional health to a system that can't do their basic duty, their basic job?
Right.
So when we're looking at this stuff and they're trying to not only are they breaking the bonds with parents, but they really want to normalize all of this behavior. You said you believe it's mostly political ideology. I agree with that. And yet, the way we see the political ideology is in the appearance of these kids now. We see them with their crazy wild hair. We see them with their non-binary look. You don't know what their agender, you can't tell what they are. You don't really know. There's
Right.
no embracing of masculine or femininity. And then, of course, if there is, it's in the identity of transgenderism. So in these challenged books, a lot of them have to do with targeting. These are little kid books. These are, these are not meant for even 17, 18, 19-year-old kids. They're literally targeting little kids. They look like baby books.
Right. And when they do that, these books are actually educationally unsuitable because they basically are promoting a fiction that is not true and that ends up harming children. The key here is that in being educationally unsuitable, they may be removed from schools under the Board of Education versus PICO Act. It's just that the librarians act like they know what they're doing and everyone thinks that they do. It's not true. And people do have the right to get in there and remove these educationally unsuitable books right under the law. And they can do it immediately. They have to get on boards. You have to run for that library board or be selected, whatever it takes, get on that board, get a majority, then get rid of this policy in the Library Bill of Rights and start putting in common sense community standards and the law, and you'll start protecting your children from what's been going on all this time and nobody's noticed.
Dan, what you just said is so powerful. That is the roadmap to cleaning house in these libraries and making them a place of, of just pure enjoyment. I mean, we've taken our kids to libraries forever and ever. We talked about last time you were on here how they exposed themselves when they went too far by bringing the drag queens in, because parents didn't know. We would see the displays sometimes and be like, kids, don't go over there, right? But we had no idea they had such easy access on the bookshelves. So they've done themselves a disservice by going too far, obviously, but it's good for us. So when you talk about this PICO Act, in the last minute that we have together, can you explain to parents and our audience who are listening right now, what is the PICO Act?
The PICO is a case, 1982, the U.S. Supreme Court. And in it ruled that books may not be removed from schools because of the ideas they contained. But if they're pervasively vulgar or educationally unsuitable, then they may be removed and removed immediately. So you can't remove a book about communism. But if for whatever reason it's educationally unsuitable or pervasively vulgar, then you can remove the book about communism. It's as simple as that. And
what qualifies for educationally unsuitable, though?
Well, in one case, there was a case down in Florida about a book called Vamos a Cuba. And in Vamos a Cuba was just totally false information about how wonderful communism was or something like that. And the courts in Florida removed it. And it went to the Supreme Court of the United States and they denied certiorari. So it was removed because it was educationally unsuitable. It had nothing to do with pervasive vulgarity. It was just educationally unsuitable and it was removed. You can do this.
Advancing communism. Well, we are on a hard stop. Dan Kleinman, World Library Association. I'm going to continue to have you back over and over until this sinks into the parents across the country. We need to secure these places again. These are valuable resources and tools that should be utilized for our children, not used to traumatize them. Dan Kleinman, thank you so much for being with us.
I thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to be right back. Quick break with our next guest. We're on a mission to take market shares away from the CCP. Join us at patriotswitch.com/mom to support American-made companies, American-made manufacturing, and America workers first. patriotswitch.com/mom. Who doesn't enjoy a great night of sleep or fabulous slippers for your toes? Go to mypillow.com, use code word MOM, and get the great American Patriot Mike Lindell's amazing pillows, slippers, and there's so much more. The sheets are incredible. Go to mypillow.com/mom today. And welcome back to America's Mom. So, everybody knows that this is the most important election of our lifetime. We all know it, we feel it, we sense it. We're watching movies like the Civil War roll out to try to create an outcome that the globalist elites want. By the way, I couldn't watch more than about 20 minutes of that film. I do not recommend it. It was absolutely vile and despicable and not in keeping with the nature of Americans in our country and what our founders wanted for this nation. It's absolutely deplorable. I would call it predictive programming, actually. It's what they want, but we're not going to give it to them because there is a plan to save this country. And that plan includes all 3,143 counties in this nation, which is not actually that many counties. It's doable, friends, to save our country and to keep us all intact, our families, our friendships, our homes, to keep those intact and not surrender to this idea that the only way to win is for internal war. We're not going to give in to that. So today, my guest, Linda Rantz, is joining us to talk about exactly how we save this country, how we prepare for the most important election in our history. Linda, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Sherronna. Thanks for the invitation to be on.
It's such a simple thing. And usually it's the simple things
Mm-hmm.
that win the day. You are with Cause of America, and you have created the paper ballot hand count method because CIS has been warning us, federal government's been warning us. I believe the New York Times published an article just a couple weeks ago saying there will be no results for the election and all of the machines are going to be hacked and interfered with. So you've done something about that along with Mike Lindell's organization, the Lindell Offense Fund, who assists the Cause of America and this program that you've created. Please tell us, because everybody says they have a plan. But what does Mike Tyson say? Yeah, nobody's got a plan. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And we don't want to get punched in the face this time.
Right. Right. Well, if you think about it, we have hand counted ballots for centuries, or in some way counted up ballots, counted up votes. And generation after generation have done it. It's simple and humans can do it. They don't want us to do it. We have an audio recording that we obtained of the director of elections in Missouri stating that the elections industry wants less humans involved in elections. They want to move to completely electronic or in some way mechanical method of elections that humans don't even touch it. Go vote, but don't think about anything else. We'll take care of it. We'll just let you know the outcome. So counting ballots, first of all, it's just so easy. It is so easy. We show it over and over again. We hand counted an official election here in Missouri last year from start to finish. They tried to discredit it. They couldn't. They re-hand counted the ballots. They ran them through a machine. People can hand count. And really the plan between now and even November is to get as many people across this country to understand how easy it is. We are training like crazy. And in some ways, the training's not even in depth. It's just showing you how simple it is. We did it at a dinner that we had locally, and one of our state senators had his 7-year-old son with him. And we did what we call the 2-minute tally demo, where we just call off some votes and people learn how to quickly tally votes. And he came up afterwards, Senator Ben Brown, and he said, I want people to know my 7-year-old son did it with 100% accuracy. 7-year-old had never seen it before.
So your method is so simple that a 7-year-old can do it. You know, I laugh when I hear these election officials or county commissioners or governors or, you know, secretaries of state saying it's impossible. We could never do a hand count election. I appreciate so much that you're pointing out we've been doing it for centuries. In one form or another, we can count. And so with this 7-year-old, I bet there was a lot of moaning in the room.
Well, you know, everybody in there who participated, because there were a couple people who refused to pick up the Sharpie and do it. They were so opposed to it. I'm not even going to touch it. And that's part of the problem, is part of the narrative. And I just saw a headline come out the other day. What they try to say is that people are not good at repetitive tasks, which hand counting would be repetitive, and we can't do it because we're bad at that. But when we taught in Illinois, we had a gentleman who works at the John Deere factory up there in Moline, Illinois, stand up and say, have them come to the factory. I'll show them repetitive tasks. We are better when we get practice in, you know, that sort of motor memory, whatever they call it, where you get so used to it. And so that repetitive task. It's just a storyline they put out there. So more than anything, what we want is for people to understand, you just have to talk to friends around you. You just have to help people understand we're capable. We're 100% capable. And it's very easy. Hand counting is easy. If there's a mantra, that's it. Because we don't know what's going to happen. All of us have our different sources of information. We all have our different sort of take on it of what might happen between now and November. But everything we do in this hand count process shows that all ballots in any county could be counted in 8 hours, period. It will be different numbers of people in different counties, but we have that all laid out through Cause of America. We're just now publishing a document that is emergency preparedness for hand counting, and it's going to go out to all clerks. And I heard one of your guests say that we're talking about libraries, that librarians don't really know certain things. And that's true of the clerks. It's not that they're all bad, but they believe things that they don't really know or they've been told. So what we want to do is get information out to them. So we have a very short document going out that explains to them, look, natural disaster, power grid goes down, cyber attack, anything that might happen, you need to be prepared in advance. And for them, it's just having some documents printed in advance and ready to go. For us, through Cause of America and all the 50 state teams that we have that work with us, it's getting the word out, and they are. We had a great event this past weekend. We recorded what's called the 6-hour training, the Train the Trainer. 6 hours of training for those who will go out and, deeply train others. But on Cause of America, we have a 47-minute express training. So between the 2-minute tally demo, which I think we should have hundreds of thousands of people take that, because that's as much as you need, to a smaller amount do the express training, and then kind of a core group take the 6-hour. And so that's up right now in Rumble, but we will be editing it to get it out in high definition. So there's no reason that you can't learn and help others to learn how to hand count.
In fact, I think we have an absolute duty to this. I want to share this video with you, and we'll make sure that it's up when we do this, when this comes to post. But there is a video out there. It is Yuval Noah Harari. You're familiar with him. He is he's the little minion of Klaus Schwab with the World Economic Forum. And he has, very bizarrely, there was an interview that he did with Diary of a CEO. And he said that there was massive concern actually about the longer that our election stayed online, that AI would actually take over and determine the outcome of our elected representatives. It would no longer be an election. I mean, he does a 1.5 minute explanation of why it's so concerning that we're still using electronic voting machines.
Fast forward 10 or 20 years, AI creates such complicated financial devices that there is not a single human being on earth that understands finance anymore. What are the implications for politics? Like, you vote for a government, but none of the humans in the government, not the prime minister, not the finance minister, nobody understands the financial system. They just rely on AI to tell them what is happening. Is this still a democracy? Is this still a human form of government in any way?
What do you say to someone that hears that and goes, that's nonsense, that's never going to happen?
Why not? I mean, let's look back 15 years to the last big financial crisis in 2007, 2008. This financial crisis, to a large extent, began with these extremely complicated financial devices, CDOs. What's the acronym? Collateral debt something. I don't even know what the letter stands for. You had these kind of whiz kids in Wall Street inventing a new financial device that nobody except them really understood, which is why also it wasn't regulated effectively by the banks and the governments. And it worked well for a couple of years, and then it brought down the world's financial system. And what happens if now AIs comes with even more sophisticated financial devices? And for a couple of years, everything works well. They make trillions of dollars for us. And then one day, it doesn't.
I thought that was really, really fascinating, because now whether or not he was saying it that he was sad about that or happy about that, I really don't know, because he's hard to even read. But just the fact that he was willing to say it, that the longer we stay online, the more power we keep giving to these machines to run every part of our lives, then the more likely it is they absolutely will. And they will eventually accrue the intelligence that's going to allow them to subvert us and pick whatever it is that they want, whatever outcome. And essentially, that's what's been happening anyway. That's what's already been happening, except by the will of man and however they are interfering in our machines during the election time. There's so many different ways, and we have experts who come on and talk about that. Clay Parikh was with us, and Colonel Sean Smith. But in this particular case, I have heard people say, Linda, that people cheat with hand count too. How do you respond to that?
Well, yes, people cheat. They cheat at the stop sign. They cheat sometimes when they're, in their family relationships. People are prone to cheat. But the difference is that when you are using electronic voting equipment and it's being hacked by people possibly around the world, foreign adversaries, somebody, maybe just somebody who got in the machine or whatever, in a push of a button, they can insert thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of votes. The cheat is huge. When you hand count at the polling place or the precinct level where people cast their ballots. The average number of ballots cast locally in a polling place is between 360 and 480. So
and this is in a precinct level, no matter the size of the city, right?
Right. No, because you have more precincts if the bigger the city, but the precinct itself is going to be, somewhere in that area. And that's an average. The number can go higher or lower. But the fact of the matter is you plan around that. Everybody in that polling place with the hand count method would have to agree to the cheat. And the most they can cheat is the number of ballots that come into that door. You can't have, let's say, 500 people cast a ballot somewhere and say, oh, but there was an extra 10,000 that didn't get accounted for, that we counted. You can't do it. The most you could cheat is 500 at that place. So yes, we have all kinds of great little methods that are built in to the process that are simple human double check, like almost like a bookkeeping double check. And so people are honest too. That's the other good news, is that hopefully you have more honest people who step up to get in there and hand count. And if the parties that are supposed to assign these workers in there that represent, so they represent Republicans, they represent Democrats, the Libertarians, everybody would have their people in there. If you're putting people in there to represent your party, hopefully you're choosing honest people, but then they all watch each other anyway. So there's a lot of watching going on. It's a lot harder to cheat.
I'm so glad that you said that about the actual number potential for the paper ballot hand sheet. Okay, so let's say, 500 is very different from the 100,000 still unaccounted for votes in Pennsylvania, and actually maybe closer to 200,000 there. Those are massive numbers because of machines. And so again, that is just something that needs to be dispelled right out the gate. When people are telling you, well, hand count is is cheatable too. Counting the ballots cheatable too. Never on the scale that a machine can do. Now, I know this isn't necessarily your expertise, but you are in the election world. You hear all of these conversations, and I know that you're educated on this. When we talk about people voting early, I think I said I wasn't going to talk to you about this, but we're going to talk about it anyway, because it's really a big deal right now. I mean, I'm seeing Michael Flynn Jr. is saying he's voting early, when I've seen other people say, they're going to vote on election day because they understand what happens if you vote early is there's, that's one less person that they know they can take that name from. But why are we telling people not to vote early from your perspective?
Well, from a hand count perspective, if you're voting early and you're voting on paper ballot, that paper ballot gets put into some sort of a ballot box, that has to have 24/7 security on it all the time. That's the chain of custody issue with these ballots. You don't want ballots that lay around. In 2004 in Washington State, there was a governor election and the Republican won, and it was slim. So they said, oh, automatic recount. They recounted. He still won, Dino Rossi. And so they recounted again, and he still won. But they're like, well, there's a smaller margin. We're going to count one more time. And this time they said, we found a box of ballots in a desk that hadn't been counted. They inserted them, and he lost the election.
Of course.
So So you don't want ballots somewhere. You don't want somebody hanging on to them. And the other problem too is that once you've cast that ballot, who's to say that, you talk about cheating, that somebody doesn't open it up and say, oh, great, I'll take these 200 ballots out and put these 200 in. You don't have control of your ballot. It's not a good thing to vote early from that perspective of trying to protect your vote.
There is some serious legislative work that needs to be done to secure elections across the entire country. Do you believe still it's best to work from a state level, or should the federal government be able to truly implement? I mean, I know they are attempting to do it for the national elections, but should there be some type of federal oversight for the entire country on how we're running our elections?
So I would say in the state of Missouri, where I am, we actually have great laws that allow for us to do these hand counts. That I had a legislator ask me, well, tell me what bills you want me to put in and I'll put them in. I'm like, just don't touch them. Leave them alone. The problems that we have in Missouri are because of federal laws that are added on top of it. The federal government comes in and they mess up where they shouldn't even be. And it's with these agencies. When you hear Elon Musk talk about taking away agencies that are just sort of these entities that are created by a bureaucrat, look into the CIS. That they come across as if they're part of CISA, which CISA, the Cybersecurity Information Center, our service, but they're not. They're just sort of created. And some of our clerks in Missouri are even on that board. And I'm thinking, what are you doing on that? You're not qualified to be on that. So it's a problem. The federal government involved in any of this is a problem.
I can't even tell you how glad I am that that was your answer, because I do hear people, begging for Congress to pass, national laws. And even in Arizona, where that's the case, right, where they have said there will be voter ID on the national election. And so they have to have separate ballots. It gets very convoluted, but no matter what, it's still best at the state level, the local level. That's where you have the power to change things. And we don't want to delegate that to the federal government. Linda Rantz, Cause of America, the paper ballot hand count method. This is something, if you want to secure your elections, if you want to know, you're going to know who the winner was on the day of our election day, November 5th. You have to take control in your local community. And this is the best way to do it. You can lead, right? People can lead in their own communities. This doesn't take a degree, does it?
No, not at all. Just a Sharpie. And actually, if you like to play bingo, you're probably going to be really good at hand counting ballots.
I think that about says it all right there. 7-year-old can do it, folks. So can you. Linda Rantz, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks, Sherronna.
I want to thank you all so much for being with us. Again, just tremendous people who are doing the real work across this country to save our children, to protect our country, and to make sure we still have a nation for our children one day. Thank you all so much for being here. I just want to always end with this reminder, because it's so important. It's truly significant. The only way that evil continues to go is when good men and women do absolutely nothing. Do something today to save this country. We'll see you back here soon.
It was hard times living in a system that was too scared to share the truth and make a difference. I was sitting in ambition, then I saw the vision. I would multiply the love and subtract the division. And I'm not a mathematician, but it didn't add up. Praising politicians when they try to mask us. They say they're about the science, but they fake the data. They say they're gonna save us, but they really lab rat us. I don't really want to blindfold, see both sides, or keep your eyes closed. Still accept the lies, well, sorry I don't. All that we deny will still be exposed. And I know these are hard times living. Most of us have reached our limit. The devil on attack with more clone gimmicks. There's no more time to be timid. Live this life with the light of the risen. 'Cause I don't gotta wait no more, chasing after things that they just can't tell you.